Hello and welcome to the December edition of Bridge to India's policy and regulatory update on India's renewable power sector. We will look at the various updates from central as well as state government agencies and regulators. Ministry of Power has proposed discontinuation of 25-year-old PPAs. The Ministry of Power has issued a draft proposal offering DISCOMs to voluntarily surrender power capacity allocated to them in central government-owned power plants older than 25 years. DISCOMs will have an option to fully surrender allocated capacity at 3-month notice. Proposal gives no details on treatment of fixed charges of such power plants or their role in process of surrendering of allocated power. DISCOMs of several states like Odisha, Delhi, Punjab and Andhra Pradesh have already expressed desire to relinquish capacity allocated in older central sector power plants. We expect such instances to increase due to lower than expected demand growth and availability of cheaper and predictable renewable power. While capacity of these power plants may be very small compared to overall demand, if approved, this proposal will be a major first step towards creating a competitive wholesale power market in India. Ministry of Power has issued rules for restriction on net metering. Ministry of Power has issued Electricity Rules 2020 defining rights of consumers. One of the provisions relates to restricting net metering to rooftop solar power systems of up to 10 kW. Strict timelines for completion of application process for installation of rooftop solar power systems have been issued with provisions for penalties on DISCOMs in case of delays. The rules also mandate that all new electricity connections have smart meters. Central government rules serve only as broad guidelines for states. These rules are not binding on states where final decisions made by respective regulators would be applicable. Nonetheless, we believe the 10 kW restriction provides encouragement to states to withdraw net metering benefit and is likely to impact growth of rooftop systems. 7 major states have already partially or wholly withdrawn net metering for C&I consumers. The sector faces strong resistance from DISCOMs fearful of losing revenue. MNRE has issued guidelines for feeder level solar power for irrigation pumps under Kusum scheme. MNRE has issued guidelines for feeder level solar power for 750,000 irrigation pumps under component C of Kusum scheme by financial year 2023. Central and state governments will offer 30% subsidy each for such power systems under the scheme. Amount of central government subsidy will be limited to solar power system size corresponding to annual power supply at a particular feeder. However, there is no limit on size of system that can be installed at a feeder. So far, implementation of feeder level solar power systems has not attracted many developers. Maharashtra, one of the leading states, has managed to contract only 8% of the capacity tendered so far. Small and distributed systems along with low tariffs of INR 3 to 3.5 per kilowatt hour are main reasons for slow growth of implementation. We believe high dependence on subsidies will act as another inhibitor for growth, as has been the case with residential rooftop solar scheme. Lengthy delays and complex procedure are expected to keep developers away from this scheme. MNRE has imposed additional penalty on developers for tenders under Kusum scheme. MNRE has issued clarifications on directions issued by Ministry of Finance regarding earnest money deposit and performance bank guarantee. MNRE directed all states to remove requirement for bidders to submit EMD and reduce performance bank guarantee to 3% of contracted value. For Kusum scheme tenders, MNRE advised states to charge 10% of performance bank guarantee in addition to other penal charges if developers fail to meet their obligations. Rajasthan has allowed relief to ACME on over-injection of solar power. Rajasthan regulator has allowed 2 SPVs of ACME to over-inject power from projects located in Bhadla Solar Park. ACME operates 2 solar power projects of 100 MW each in the solar park. The solar park developer Surya Urja Company of Rajasthan asked ACME to limit power injection at 100 megawatt to maintain grid stability. ACME successfully argued that solar power projects can deviate up to 15% without any penalty, and solar park substation has surplus capacity. The commission allowed ACME to inject up to 110 megawatts subject to grid stability. Solar park developers' objection to over-injection of power is frivolous. It admits that over-injection was for a short duration on some days rather than on consistent basis. Further, the substation in question has surplus capacity and minimal over-injection is unlikely to have any adverse impact on grid stability, given the additional 10% buffer grid operators always maintain. Joint Electricity Regulatory Commission has restricted banking to 20% of monthly generation. Open access projects in Union Territories and Goa will be able to bank up to 20% of monthly power generation until end of the financial year. Unutilized bank power up to 20% of power generated in a fiscal year shall be compensated at APPC or feed-in tariff, whichever is lower. No compensation is available for additional power. While this restriction is in line with similar restrictions imposed and proposed by other states, it is unlikely to have a major impact on the small open access market in Union Territories and Goa. Unlike most states, open access connectivity in Union Territories and Goa is allowed for consumers with more than 4 megawatt load. That concludes summary of key policies and regulatory orders passed in December 2020. We hope you found this update useful. You can view all policy and regulatory information and much more on the renewable sector in real time at India RE Navigator. Please share your comments and feedback at contact@bridge2india.com. We will be back early next month with a fresh update. Thanks.